Hey folks, today we're going to unbox a modern Transformer. Now I only collect G1, and that was a conscious decision I made, a few years ago to just narrow the scope of my accumulation. It was just getting out of hand. There's no space for all this stuff, and it's pretty expensive. So I really focus on G1 vintage, vintage variants. And if you've seen the other videos on the channel, I do all kinds of repairs, right? That's like my main focus right now in collecting is repairs. When I buy something new, it's usually the premium lines like Missing Link or Masterpiece. But I definitely see, I'm conscious of the main line. They're very G1 adjacent. I'm conscious of like the older ones like Combiner Wars and Siege, but I just don't own any of them. And I know there's Studio Series; those look really cool. I don't own any of those. And whatever this thing is, it doesn't even actually say what line it's from. It's obviously a G1 Brawn, which caught my eye. It would be helpful if they said what the line is. I'll look it up later, I suppose. But it says it's a 2025 product, and the only reason I bought it was that I was in the toy aisle at Target buying a birthday present for one of my kids, like they're going to a birthday party. And of course, I walked down the action figure aisle, and let me tell you, that action figure aisle is not for kids. It's clearly aimed at people like me. I'm pretty sure I saw G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, and He-Man all in the same aisle. So that was, I have to say, very fun. I like doing that. I don't do it enough. And the reason I don't do it enough is because I don't want to buy the stuff. I don't want to get tempted because it's just a lot of stuff to store and it's a lot of money to invest. But this thing, I think the regular price was 25 or 30 bucks US, and it was on clearance for $16 or $15. And I just had to give it a shot. So let me open this thing up. Now, when I open up a card back, I actually like to cut the bubble. I try to keep the art intact. So I like to cut the bubble on the bottom and create a flap that might be able to, kind of be used as a door in and out. So I can slide the thing back in and then it's displayable upright. So let's see if I can do that here without causing too much damage. All right, cutting the line there. Let's cut another. I think I'm getting into the paper a little bit, but that's okay. The old eyes and hands aren't quite as steady as they used to be. There we go. Let's see if that'll come out as a flap. I need to give it another swipe here. There we go. That ought to work. Come on, man. There we go. And so usually there's like an insert. There, see that? Look at that. That worked well. So it just slides. It just slides out. So there's my instructions, which I'd like to think I could figure this out without the instructions, but I have no pride about that issue. Here, I'm gonna try to save the rubber bands. See if I can grab some tweezers. I don't know why I like to save the packaging. And particularly these like twisty ties and all that stuff, but I've always tried to save those. I just have this theory that one day I might sell the toy and the person would appreciate the original packaging. But boy, I'm finding this very difficult to do. There we go. There we go. All right, there's one. It's like I'm trying to be so delicate as to save the rubber bands, but then in order to do that, I'm manhandling the bubble. So it seems kind of contradictory. Okay, that was incredibly frustrating, but we got those out and intact. So let's get him out of his shell here. Okay, it's got a little gun. Well, that looks really good. It's clearly bronze visage. Let's see if I can figure out what's going on here. So we got some wheels back here. Definitely impressed with the so-called articulation. I know articulation is kind of a big deal on like these toy review channels. I mean, I like to watch those videos too. And people are always counting the points of articulation. That's actually not a big deal to me. I just remember when I was little and playing with these bricks, these toys that were, like big metal heavy toys, just kind of used my imagination. It never occurred to me that I needed waist to swivel. But this has great articulation. That's our guy Braun. I mean, I'd call this like masterpiece adjacent. It looks really good, very screen accurate, but I appreciate that it's also not slavishly screen accurate, where there's just no texture on the panels or anything. All right, let me fumble a little and see if I can transform this. But I'm not going to invest a lot of time in it because I am perfectly happy to read the instructions. All right. So that's clearly a thing that has to happen. Chest appears to open up. Okay. That's kind of straightens out. There's a flap, so this is all going to hide inside, I guess. Please don't break this toy. Okay, that must spin around. The head might hide in there. Something like this. This is going to fold around. I think I'm close. You all not use the instructions? I know some people, at least I think some people prefer to do it that way, like it's like a puzzle. And that's something I can definitely appreciate and respect. But I don't need it. All right, so those look like they tab together. So there's a clue. See the tab there. Now, considering I'm usually repairing G1s that I know, like intimately, I can not only transform but usually repair a G1 in my sleep. It's actually not that often that I mess with something new like this and get the opportunity to figure it out. So you're kind of witnessing a real authentic moment here. It all seems to make sense, and yet it just won't. There it is. Well, that's clever. So the feet go into this cavity. Hey, 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 look at this. It's happening. I'm not usually so ham-fisted. You know what? That's pretty cool. It doesn't want to stay attached, though. So what did I do? I think I got it. It's our guy. That's a really effective rendition of Brawn. It was kind of fun. So a couple of observations. For one thing, I am super proud of myself for being able to transform that without the instructions. I'll double check later to see what I got wrong. The sides are they kind of look a little collapsed in because of that clever way that they took the feet away, but I don't mind it. Jeeps are supposed to be chunky. I like that it's got this car on bot undercarriage here. I mean, this is exactly how the original toy looked. You would flip it over and you flip it upside down and you see Braun's face staring at you. So something about that, I like that as a homage, even if it was unintentional. I like the little X on the back. The original toy had that. What would have been cool is if they put a little square indent. So the original G1 Brawn had a smooth roof in the 1984 release, but then in second release in 1985, that was the year the rub signs came out. So they molded a little square in the roof right here, but then they didn't put the rub sign there. It was supposed to be for the sign, but it just didn't fit very well. So they put it on where I actually don't know why they didn't use the square. My suspicion is that it just didn't fit very well, and they put it on the side of the door. But hey, overall, this was fun. I like this thing. For $15, I think it's not bad. For $25, probably have to pass, but at 15, I would definitely recommend it. I guess they're doing good work out there with these modern mainline Transformers. I just wish I had the space to dive in on this. And unfortunately, I don't. Anyway, hope that was useful for you, and we'll see you next time.